Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to Good Morning LaLa Land. We are here with serial entrepreneur and the CEO of Misfit Media, Mr. Brett Linkletter. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.
Talk about hashtag Monday motivation. You walk in here and you're like, I got this.
Yeah.
6 businesses later. 20 years.
Honestly, it's really crazy, and I always talk about this with my buddies who are also in their own businesses. Is there's something I think inside of every entrepreneur that pushes them, and it's not like I can trace it back to any specific event in my life, but it's kind of like always been that way. And at least my way as an entrepreneur is I look at myself as kind of like a rebel. I've always looked at things like I want to do things differently, not because I think the system that's in place right now is imperfect, but just it's something I didn't want to associate with for some reason. I don't know why.
Was that something you ever had a moment where you recognized that in yourself?
Yeah, honestly, since I was a little kid.
Really?
Yeah, don't you think entrepreneurs, it's almost like you're born with it, I've found, just being around entrepreneurs. It's something that, something happens as a little kid and you decide, like, this is
It's really weird because, and my dad always jokes with me about this story. So when I was I think in middle school or freshman year of high school, my dad, so I'm doing my homework at the dinner room table, and my dad's like, hey, Brett, you got to do your dishes after dinner, put it away. And I'm like, Dad, you do the dishes because I'm going to sit here and do my homework, get good grades, so I go to good college, get a good job. And later in life, when
it's hard to argue with, actually, right?
Yeah, and then later in life, when I make a lot of money, I'll get you a Ferrari for all this effort that you've had to put in towards me. So it's kind of like the joke we have now. My dad's like, so when am I getting my Ferrari? He's like, I did your dishes that time, so I'm getting a Ferrari later. So I just always had this mentality that no. Also, when I was in college, I was in a fraternity. And pledging for me was just a very difficult thing. I have this very serious problem with listening to other people and doing tasks for other people, which is another reason I need to have my own business because I don't think I'd be a good employee anywhere, to be honest with you.
But it's different to be a solo entrepreneur versus building a company. So how has that been working with other people and building those relationships?
It's been amazing. And I'm really thankful for having a business partner in Misfit Media. So my business partner came on with me about 2 years ago, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, it is kind of a lonely path until you have employees, but having a business partner especially is grateful because you're able to have those successes together and those failures together. And when you are alone, it is very, very lonely. A lot of people say being an entrepreneur is literally the loneliest lifestyle you can live if you don't have a business partner or you don't have employees. Because legitimately, when I first started this business, I was at home, working from basically my room, right? And there are some low points, very, very low points. And when you don't have anyone to talk to about that, you feel like it's literally the end of your life and you don't know what to do. Some of my lowest moments, my worst moment ever, I was down $16,000 in debt. One of my best friends had just died, and I had just lost 3 of my biggest paying clients. So I was and I was alone at that time. So I really didn't have anyone to talk to, and no one can relate to you. And you could ask your parents, and my parents aren't entrepreneurs, so they can't even understand what that's like going through that. So for me, emotionally, it was okay, this is kind of the end of the world. It was the breaking point. I can get past this, or that's it. And shortly after that, my business partner came on about 4 or 5 months after that. And things ended up working out. But it just, when you don't have someone to talk to, it's just hard.
How did you get through that? How did you bide your time for that 6 months until the other
So in that moment, I kind of called my back against the wall kind of moment. I started 2 other businesses. So one of which is a hair company. It's called Hudson Hammer. It's a men's hair product company. We do hair gels, creams, all that kind of stuff. And another business I started was a software business. It's called Boostly. It basically is a software that helps you kind of grow a social following on Instagram. And the software business started with 2 of my other friends from school. So I was I'm going to have a business partner in this because it's very hard to do this alone. And then the hair company is always something I've been very passionate about. But in starting those 2 businesses at the same time, obviously because I was already in debt, it was very difficult. So it was
what do you
do
then?
I took a lot of credit card debt, so climbed out of it eventually, and I made it through. But it's one of those things where I look back on that moment and it's if that hadn't worked out in the next 6 months, I don't know. Like it might just never work out for me.
It's so
honestly.
profound to me to hear how resilient you are. It's so inspiring to me because I think a lot of people, myself included, when you're down and out, you just want to take like a nap. I just want to sleep. You started 2 more businesses.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
is that something, it sounds like you probably come from a very sort of hearty, resilient family. It's got to be, you know, maybe some values that are.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, so like, my great-grandfather's name's Art Linkletter. He was also in a TV show. His story is extremely inspiring. He basically, when he was adopted in Canada, and his parents left him at a church doorstep in Moose Jaw, Canada, in a basket. Like legitimately, it sounds like a movie, right? Like he literally was left in a basket at a church.
Wow.
He was adopted by a minister with 1 leg. Super poor family, and then made his way to the U.S., basically hitchhiking and basically crossing the border illegally. Made to the U.S. and then became a famous entrepreneur and television host and personality. He's had shows like Kids Say Darndest Things and all that kind of stuff. So for me, he's my biggest inspiration. And I don't know, maybe part of this all is genetics, because I look back at that story and it just, for me, is like so profound and so amazing, so inspiring. And for me, that's like, I kind of want to continue that legacy.
Right.
I have a prediction. I know your new project. It's a movie or documentary. Family. I want in on it.
So you have a tattoo. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah,
That says
so this-
kind of like a
This right here.
mantra for you.
What does it say?
Yes, it's things turn out best for those who make the best out of the way things turn out. It's actually a John Wooden quote. He was a coach at UCLA, and I'm actually a Trojan, so it's kind of. But my dad was a Bruin. I actually was raised to be a Bruin, and then I think I got smart and switched sides.
That's blasphemy. That's blasphemy.
No, yeah. Just kidding. I'm a Bruins. Anyway, but no, I got it in his honor because I don't really like, talk about too much of this, but essentially when he was on his deathbed, that was one thing he wanted me to remember, is when things get tough, really make the best of it, and it'll work out for you. So like I really, really take that to heart,
For
So I
sure.
want to get tattooed.
And I do think that it's so glamorized in the media and everything of success, and we rarely really see the struggles that go behind the people how they had to get there, the entrepreneurs that were in their room going, what the hell am I doing, and in debt and going, should I give up, should I keep going, whatever. And so it's really important. The stories are so important.
You're absolutely right, Erin, and it's one of the things that I love about your story too, is that I think a lot of success stories are revisionist. I mean, we are sort of post-produce them, right? The difference with you is you're so authentic and you're so transparent about your story, both the dark moments and sort of the beautiful highlights of your life. I think it makes for a really compelling and inspiring journey, story for the rest of us. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure.
Where can people find more about Misfit Media?
So you can follow us on Instagram at Misfit Media Inc. Also YouTube, Facebook as well. And then on my personal channel, I think personal branding is also very, very important in today's world. I think any business owner should have a personal brand. I mean, just to push themselves and also push their business. So if you guys want to follow me, also on Instagram, just my name, Brett Linkletter.
Hudson and Hammer as well, right?
And then Hudson Hammer, and then if you want to get even further, then Boostly.
Yeah. Get a pen and pad. You need to write these down.
Start with Brett. Go from there.
Sorry, Brett.
Thank you again for being here today. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land. Stay tuned.